Hey everyone, Tad Hargrave from marketingforhippies.com. I got to read a shitty email to you. So I got sent this a while ago now. This was back in September. Somebody who's on somebody else's email list, and she cut off, bless her, so I don't have to know who it's from. But I'm just going to read this out. It's from a marketing coach, a sales coach. Yeah. Picture the scene. You've got a hot prospect in front of you, probably on Zoom, but maybe actually in real life in front of you, and it's all going swimmingly. They're making the right noises. They've got the needs and desires. They've got an itch that your service can scratch. They've got the resources. You've qualified them financially. They've got the resources. You've qualified them financially and emotionally. Heck, they've even worked with similar service providers in the past. By the way, that's one of my favorite qualifying questions. Have you paid for this kind of thing before? A buyer is a buyer is a buyer. That's actually a pretty good question to ask, just to see how serious they are about not working with you, but just handling this. Have you ever paid somebody to do this before? You get to the part of your pitch. Okay, so that's red flag number one. The fact that we're talking about pitching and not with quotes and sort of ironically is a concern. You get to the pitch where you say, so, shall we get started? That's a terrible question to ask. Never ask that to anyone. So, shall we get started? That is immensely, I don't know. That just feels like too much pressure. Shall we get started? A better question would be, so where do you think we should go from here? Or, would you be interested in getting started? Are you open to that? That just feels a little aggressive. I would never ask them, shall we get started? And they respond with, yes, that all sounds great. Let me think about it for a little while and I'll get back to you soon. Grrr. Something's gotten derailed along the way. The likelihood the be back bus is coming back anytime soon is very, very low. In fact, as a gambling man, okay, this is a dude, I'd put cold, hard money on that baby never coming back your way. I would disagree. It depends how you deal with them saying, I need to think about it. Right. So how do you deal with it when it happens? Can it be salvaged? Or are you stuck with the promise of a never to be returned phone call, a never to be answered email, a very real ghosting by the self-same person who's given you all those buying signals up till now? Let's just translate everything so far to dating and possibly sex and consider how fucking terrifying and threatening that sounds. Yeah. And let's just review that last paragraph. The promise of a never to be returned phone call. So what if they don't call you back? They don't want to call you back. Okay. They're an adult. A never to be answered email. Who said they had to answer your email? What kind of entitled shit is this? A very real ghosting by the self-same person. Okay, the only reason they're going to ghost you, not the only reason, a big reason they'll ghost you is because you're putting too much pressure on them. And they feel they need to ghost. That's the only way they can get out of the situation because they can't deal with all the pressure. To the person who's given you all these buying signals up till now. Oh, so they gave you buying signals. That means they need to buy. They've lied to you. Can you believe it? Just insane. In truth, there are two ways of dealing with this. Let's find out what they are. The first is preemptively. The reason your prospect thinks it's okay to say, I'll think about it and be back later is because you've made it crystal clear, explicitly or implicitly, that that kind of behavior is okay with you. What the fuck? What the fuck? That's wild. That's really controlling to even suggest that they should need your approval to think about it. Amazing. The second way is to regain control there and then. Okay, that's a key phrase. You see what I'm saying? I've been banging on about this for years. So much of sales is control. It's covert attempting to control. To control what? Their actions. So that what? So that they'll buy from you. That's the whole thing. The whole fucking racket. It's right there. The fact that you're trying to regain control shows that you were trying to control. Maybe you thought you were in control, but you never really were. But now you think you've lost control, so you have to regain it. Couldn't let them be in control of their own lives. No. Sure, they can think about it. They can think about it for a very specific and short amount of time that you give them. This sounds like an abusive relationship. At which stage, if you haven't heard from them, you'll meet again to get that answer with a date and time set for that very specific conversation. In truth, this situation comes up all the time for all sorts of salespeople, business people. Old school sales trainers will give scripts to overcome the objection and dazzle your reluctant prospects with logic and linguistic kung fu that they can't escape. But the problem with sales scripts is that you are the only party with a copy of the script. The prospect is working off their own script and you don't have a copy of that. Never the twain shall meet. Oh, well, that's true so far. In every instance, there's nuance and context that scripts and processes can't account for. True. What you need, what every business owner needs, is a real-time, highly customized advice to deal with these situations that come up over and over again, tailored to your specific situation. The think about it situation is just one of hundreds, if not thousands, of positions that every business owner finds themselves in on the regular. Smart business owners have a board of advisors who they have on speed dial for timely answers, solutions, and guidance on navigating the choppy waters of commerce. You might not have a board of advisors today, but for only $49 a month, you can have one. Join today and never ever be stuck on what should I do in this situation. Get expert advice in real time and solve common problems quickly. Okay, so never really gets into the specifics of what to do. But you hear the whole tone and tenor of this. Again, I want to reread this phrase here. The second way is to regain control there and then. That's the problem. So if somebody says, I need to think about it, what's my response? That's a great idea. Is there any information I can give you that would help you to think it through? That would help you come to the right decision? I might say, do you want to schedule a time to circle back to talk about this? I'd be happy to answer any questions that come up in the meantime. And no pressure, no convincing, no, only if it feels like a fit. If people need to think about it, you might want to ask them, you say, totally, I get it. This is a lot of money. That's a lot to think about. Would you be willing to share what's on your mind, what questions you have? Again, I might have some stuff I could send you, and it might be that this isn't a fit, but if so, maybe I know somebody I can refer you to. No pressure at all. No hard feelings if this isn't a fit. The approach this gentleman is suggesting creates so much pressure on them. Whereas I think at that moment, if they're saying they need to think about it, they may be saying that because they're feeling pressured. So it's probably a good moment to not try to regain control, but just to acknowledge how out of control you are. And just to say, look, absolutely. I think thinking about this is so wise. And I just want to check in. If you're feeling any pressure for me to buy, I wouldn't want that. I'm really just here to help answer any questions you have. And to see if it's a fit on my end too, of course. But are you feeling at all pressured? No hard feelings. I just would love to know how I'm doing. Are you feeling okay? I might just check in and really do a timeout on the conversation. That's like, okay, if you're feeling all right, I'm curious what you're thinking about. What are the main questions right now? What do you feel unsure about? You might give prompts. Is it the money? Is it the time? Is it more the emotional risk of this? Is it, yeah, I hear you. That's real. Yes, that is a real risk. It's true. Would you like to hear some of my thoughts? You may just want to think about it. No problem. You do? Okay. Well, here's some of my thoughts. But we're just having a conversation. And our goal is not to try to regain control so that they buy. Our goal is to focus on the truth and just see what emerges from it. Have a real conversation. Now, if every single person you talk to says, I need to think about it, what that tells me, it's not your conversational skills. You're not filtering. If every single person needs to think about it, you're getting on the phone with the wrong people. These people are just not a fit. And so, it's an upstream thing that you may need to get clear about so that when they go to book that call, it's like, hey, can we just pause and just see if this is a fit to even have this conversation at all? And you could probably filter out 90% of the people with that so that you have less conversations, but most of them end up buying just because they're pre-filtered. They're already a fit. So there you go. hopefully that's helpful. Thanks so much to Tina, who sent me that email back in September. If you have any thoughts or reflections on that all, love to hear it in the comments below. Thanks so much for tuning in. You can hit the red subscribe button and the bell icon. You'll be notified every time a new video comes out, or you can just follow me on Instagram, and I put out stuff almost every day there. Plus, sweet memes. Take care, everyone.